Hello, and welcome to an 8-bit episode of We Only Look Thin. I am one of your hosts, Donald Weigel, and I have lost a little over 100 pounds. And with me today is...
Miss Pac Man, your wife. Waka, waka, waka.
Waka, 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 waka.
That's just what this episode is going to be about. Hello, I am Catherine Weigel, and I have also lost weight to the tune... Listen up, of 150 American pounds.
Wow, I love that tune.
Waka, waka, waka.
I love that tune. That's
Am
a
I
great
sounding
tune.
like Fozzie Bear or like Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man?
The
Pac folk.
Yes, the Pac folk, the Pac family.
And that did not go well. That cartoon, I watched it.
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man and Baby Pac.
Yeah.
The little Paclet.
The Pac family.
Yeah, that was not good.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I don't think I ever saw that one. Yes, this is an 8-bit episode because video games have something to do with bits, and also we bite food.
We do.
The bits and bytes,
We're
and so
always
it's like
going back to the spelling of things, which is not appropriate for podcasts.
Yeah, it's a very visual medium podcast,
So
completely visual.
Welcome. We this is an episode where we're going to talk about leveling up.
Leveling up. Like, I wish I had that Mario Brothers sound at the ready. Like when you level up, no, it's that like bloop 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 bloop. Like when you get
If
invisible
you know how to
for a
sound
little
like
while.
Mario Brothers, is it Mario or Mario?
Mario
Brothers. Hi.
Mario Brothers and Luigi.
I'm a little what am I excited today because I have been sick for a week.
Yeah.
And it was pretty miserable, and I don't think I really understood how much I value being able to walk from the bedroom to the kitchen.
Yeah, she wasn't able to eat for a couple of days. Must be nice.
Thank you to all of our Facebook listeners. Facebook
listeners, yes, they listen to Facebook.
Who chimed in on the Must Be Nice Feel Better Soon challenge. I will say that Must Be Nice won out. I think it was a 48 to 52. 52 being the Must Be Nice category of losing weight. So thank you for chiming in. I feel better now. Order has been restored to the force.
And if you're not on our Facebook page, if you don't visit there,
shame,
then
shame on you.
I wasn't gonna say shame, but sure. Now that we're in it, now that we've done it, the cat's out of the bag. We're gonna please. You can find us on Facebook.
We're not on MySpace.
That's all I was gonna say. We're not on MySpace.
Nobody.
No. We're not on MySpace.
Sorry, Tom, if you're listening, we love you. You started it all.
We do not have an AOL email address.
Nope. Anyway, so we are very funny. We are feeling good. The sun is out, which is better than it was earlier this week. So we are super excited to be talking to you today about leveling up.
Leveling up.
But before that,
we're going to talk about the tip of the week.
Ciao!
Tip of the week to you.
Tip of the week to you.
And then a little later, towards the end, we'll have a product of the week.
Pow!
A genuine, bona fide product.
Yeah, this is like put your money where your money is.
Yeah.
This isn't a phone-in.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
But first of all, why don't you tell us a little bit about your tip of the week? This was something that you came up with, and I think it's great.
It is. So the tip of the week...
It is great. I came up with it. It's great. It's great. I mean, everything I come up with is so great and inspiring.
It's gold, Jerry.
My name's Catherine Weigel. I'm so great and inspiring.
So, the tip of the week, now that Donald is done...
I'm just getting warmed up.
Y'all have phones out there, don't you? Ring, ring.
Yes, I think y'all have phones out there.
You've got
I don't know
phones,
where that came
you've got
from.
your Samsungs, you've got your iPhones. Have your phone photo screensaver, whether your lock screen or your background screen photo, be a message of inspiration or a goal that you have.
Yes, phones have wallpaper.
Wallpaper, that's the word.
Yeah.
I need to better research words.
Yeah, and if you have if you have a Fitbit, you can download pictures of your, daily achievements and things. And,
yes.
You earn a badge or something, and you can put it on there, and it, just as a constant reminder that you are awesome and you can be even more awesome.
Yeah, and you can boast about it on inspirational podcasts.
Yeah.
So what I did, and I've talked about this before, is I had, when I was losing 100 pounds, I didn't think about losing 100 pounds. I thought about losing 5 pounds. And when I lost my first 5 pounds on my Fitbit, I got a cool Fun Time 5-pound badge. And I took a screenshot of that 5-pound badge, and I then put it as my wallpaper on my phone. And
if you have an Android phone, you can just say, "Hey, Google, take a screenshot," and it'll do it.
So I used it as my screensaver. And then when I lost 10 pounds, I made the 10-pound one my goal, all the way up to 100 pounds. And it reminded me of where I was, what my aim was, kept me focused on the goal. There was not a 105-pound badge, by the way. I think our friend Rebecca in our listening and friendship audience said that the next one is 110 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So I haven't gotten that one yet.
I probably won't get that one.
But just having that as my screensaver, as my lock screen,
I should have gained more weight so I could get the 110-pound badge.
So yeah. Or if there's an inspirational message, like "I didn't come this far to only come this far," or Donald and Kath, like a picture of us. Maybe that could be your screensaver.
I think it should be. And those of you who have Gmail and probably other things too, you actually can change the background photo of your actual Gmail. And I know, at work I'm in Gmail constantly, and if you put something that inspires you as your Gmail wallpaper, you'll be seeing that all the time too, if you're like me.
Yeah. So that's our tip of the week. We're going to keep it short because we got lots to talk about. Tip of the week.
Tip of the week to you.
Tip of the week, Tao.
But speaking of badges, I just want to pat myself on the back for a second.
You spent 5 minutes telling me what a fake inspiration I was, and now you're like, I'm going to pat myself on the back.
That's right.
Do it. I want to see you do it.
This is almost to the day, my 1-year anniversary of getting my 100-pound badge.
Yay!
Earlier this week, actually, it was 1-year anniversary. So I've basically kept it off for a year.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. Look, see, we don't talk all the time.
No, when we don't have microphones, we just sit silently.
We save it. So wow, that's really amazing.
Thank you.
Like 1 year. Before, losing weight was like, it was like touching a wall.
Yeah.
Like in gym class, you run to one side and then
I'd cross the finish line, and then I'd start running the other direction and seeing how fast I could gain it back.
I know all I do is sound sarcastic, but that is really awesome. I have a really hard time with sincerity.
That's really awesome, husband.
No,
really.
I have a very hard time sounding sincere. I have not taken that class yet. So.
The Sounding Sincere class.
So that's wonderful.
We're going to start the Sounding Sincere podcast, hosted by two other
Great,
people.
Donald. So wow, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I'm giving him an earnest look right now.
She is. I don't know what to do with it because I'm not used to it.
So we talked about bits. We talked a little bit about Pac Man. The big topic of today is the idea of leveling up your health goals.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start out with a quote, which we've said before, but I'm going to say it again. You become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. And that was by Macho Man Randy Savage. Said that back in the 80s.
Step into a Slim Jim.
Yeah, that was also a quote. That didn't.
Bonesaw is ready. I'm doing Macho Man Randy Savage now.
So
he was a wrestler in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and his name was Bonesaw.
Okay. So we're dorks, but we've talked about becoming like the people that you spend time with, and whether that's a podcast, whether that's a fellowship, a group online, the family that you surround yourself with, we get comfortable in our lives, in our status, in our wellness. And I know many of you, some episodes that we do talk about kind of starting over, or you're just starting from the beginning, or you're completely lost. But this episode is about everybody in every single place. It's for everyone.
Yes.
It's for all the world. So many of you are already on your fitness journey ventures.
Yes, journey venture.
Some of you are at goal. Some of you are already in support communities or Facebook groups or in Weight Watchers classes, Fitbit challenges. And we get comfortable where we are. So many of you are already in groups. And we're asking you today, if you are the best everywhere you go, maybe it's time to level up.
Bloop, 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 bloop,
Bloop,
bloop.
bloop, bloop.
Yeah, and essentially what we're talking about is, if your whole circle of your friends, your family, your life, if you're already the person who they're all looking to, and you're still not where you want to be, expand your circle, whether it's actually hanging out with people who inspire you more or people who have habits that you wish that you had, to, listening to inspiring podcasts. One thing that Catherine has talked about more than once is that, she was in a place where, before we started this, that she was in a place where she knew she needed to get other voices in her head. And I think we have a tendency to, hang around with people who make us comfortable. And if you do that for too much, then there's nowhere to go. There's nobody pushing you to improve yourself. And that behavior sort of becomes normal,
So if you have normalized the status quo, if you win every single Fitbit challenge you're a part of, maybe it's time to level up. If you are the person making the healthiest choices anytime you go out to dinner with friends or at a potluck or even at home, if people are looking to you for advice in your journey, or like us, like we're at the top. We're up at Everest. It's cold and the air is
It's impossible
thin.
for us to find people who are...
But in order to keep progressing and to keep pushing, we need to be inspired by others too.
Yeah, for sure. And, we're constantly looking for, new voices and new outlets to, get even better at this.
So if you're coasting through your workouts, if you master every day, if you're rocking your step count, if your calorie deficit is great, if your classes aren't challenging you, if you're bored, if you're not challenged, if you're not excited, if you don't feel like you're learning something and learning a new perspective, it might be time to expand that circle, like Donald said.
So, you were saying something interesting earlier when we were talking about this episode about, how the video games that our daughter plays are just sort of aimless.
Yeah, like, has anybody, if kids are around, you might want to tell them to go do something or play Fortnite or something. Go do some flossing, which doesn't mean what it did when I was a dentist.
For all I know, Fortnite is exactly not the kind of game we're talking about.
I have no idea. Our daughter doesn't actually play it. But games today just seem to be like kids moving blocks around, and suddenly there's like chickens and cows for some reason in Minecraft.
Yeah, it's like you're just wandering around and you're sort of building stuff or whatever. Like when I was a kid, there was like Pac Man and Mario Brothers, and like in Pac Man, you're trying to complete a level. You're
and
trying
Tetris
to
and
eat
Centipede.
all the dots, and you're trying to and Super Mario Brothers. There's a boss at the end of each level, and you have to fight the boss, and then you go to the next level, and you're constantly trying to there's a goal, there's like an end game,
right? So like there are times when our daughter is playing a game, like, oh well, what's the point? And she's like, what do you mean what's the point? It's just you just walk around.
yeah like she was really into this game called Goat Simulator for a while, and you were just a goat, and you walked around and you headbutted stuff, and like you earned points,
and I'm sure it's like the satanic panic of the 80s. Like I feel very old, and I just don't understand what these games are about. But that idea of leveling up, it rings true to me, and probably to our listening audience as well. There's a point, there's a challenge, and once you've mastered that level, you go to the next level. And it is fine if you are happy at whatever level you're at, you're swimming along perfectly, you are content, then maybe leveling up isn't for you. But what about the possibility that there is something else beyond where you are? And, I've talked about it in the last year, kind of thinking about our podcast. We've been doing it for just over a year now, which we've already been lauded for. But yet last year was a maintenance year. I maintained my weight within a certain range for a whole year. We recorded podcasts. But thinking about 2019, I don't want to wake up in January 2020 and have the exact same year that I did before. I I want to push myself farther. I want to push harder. I want to grow our business. I want to be more fit than I am today.
Yeah.
And not be content with where I am. I don't want it to be a flyover year. I don't want it to be an emotional maintenance year. I want to expand, and that takes getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, an example of that was I lost essentially the entire 100 pounds that I lost. Just walking was really the only exercise that I did. And, when I was doing nothing at all and Catherine suggested I take a 10-minute walk, I was like, gosh, what's that going to do? Yeah, and it got really grumpy. And then, right about the 100-pound level, she discovered this Blogilates website. And this woman has some really great, like, simple exercises that you can do at home without any equipment. You don't need to have a gym membership. And, it was sort of this ramp up one step at a time. You start with doing a couple of simple, pretty easy exercises, and then you increase and increase. And my initial reaction was, gosh, what's that going to do? This is way too easy.
And literally the first couple of days, it takes about a minute to do the arm challenge. And it really seems like, if you're not in pain, it's not going to work. And then by day 14, you go like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
like,
no, this is starting to get real.
Received.
And so I've been doing that for, I can't remember exactly how long.
We started in August of 2018.
Well, August of 2018 or 17?
2018, I remember.
We've only been doing it that long?
Yep.
Holy
and
cow.
we're ripped. We're ripped.
I felt like I've been doing it a lot longer, but I wouldn't exactly say ripped, but I really have just from doing these things, I spend about 20 minutes or so, 20, 25 minutes a day now, most days, like 5 days a week, doing these exercises of various, combinations of them. And I feel like I've leveled up now. I've leveled up from just somebody who walks to now I'm somebody who walks and does these other things. So now the challenge in 2019 is to push myself a little farther and add some more things to it.
Well, and leveling up, and I actually listened to a great podcast suggested by our friend and listener, Cindy, the Shalene Show.
Thanks, Cindy.
Thanks, Cindy. The Shalene Show. Shalene Johnson is a fitness and business professional and covers a myriad of topics. Has never had a weight issue. But she did.
Must be nice.
Must be nice. But she talked about leveling up and kind of expanding your circle. So we're expanding on expanding that. But finding someone, and she specifically talks about finding someone who is just beyond where you are, someone in a social circle, someone on Instagram, someone in a Facebook community, someone in your Fitbit group who is doing better than you. Like I said, if you're winning every Fitbit challenge that you're in, you're not in the right challenges. So our friend Nicole is in Fitbit challenges, or at least she used to be in Fitbit challenges. She would hit 20,000 steps a day, and I would be in challenges with her, and I would be reticent to want to be in a challenge with her because I felt like I wasn't living up to what she could do. But having people in your circle who are better than you, who push you to be better, is really important. And being in a position, like I actually asked Nicole, at one point I thought I would never get 20,000 steps a day. Like that is crazy sauce. But I just asked her what she did. She's our age. She's lost about 80 pounds. She's in the same social class. She's like, oh, well, I just, add steps through my day, and I, walk in place when I'm on conference calls. And at the time, I was like, that's ridiculous. That'll never work. Like, if I don't have a Thigh Master, it's not going to do anything. But now, 2 years later, I used her as a source of inspiration. If Nicole can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And so can Donald.
Yeah, I mean, the exact same thing happened to me, and Nicole was one of those people, but when I first got the Fitbit, I was just happy to hit, 5,000 steps and then eventually 10. And then I started getting into some challenges with people who were routinely getting 20,000 steps a day. And I just thought that was impossible. But I knew that they were doing it, so I knew there must be a way to do it. And so I pushed myself and I figured out a way, and it involved going to bed a little early, getting up a little early, and
Extreme weight loss.
Actually doing, walks in the morning or rebounder or, what have you. And, now my daily goal is 20,000. And I don't hit that every day, but I do hit it most days. And I really have to push myself to get there. Especially with a long day at a desk job, but I do it, and now it's just sort of a part of my life.
Well, and two, leveling up means not finding someone who is so outside of your scope. Like, I want to be more fit. So do I look to Suzanne Summers?
No.
Do I look to Denise Austin?
No.
What about Tony Little?
No, not Tony Little. He's the inventor of the gazelle, by the way.
What about Body by Jake, Mr. By Body?
I do aspire to be Body by Jake, but
looking to people who are so far out of your class makes, you can be inspired by them, you can do their workout videos, but finding someone in your bracket sort of who pushes a little bit harder, what do they do? How can you be a student of their daily habits and not necessarily follow exactly what they do? Because it's never, I'm just going to follow exactly what Nicole does and then I'll be, I'll have success. It's all about being a student of someone else's habits, deciding how you can modify or learn from or adapt what they're doing and put it into your lifestyle.
And the flip side of that is you have to look around yourself, and I'm not talking about putting judgment on it, but you have to look around yourself and decide, are the people you're hanging out with, either whether in person or virtually, your family, your friends, your coworkers, are they pushing you to be better? Are they pushing you to achieve goals? Or are they, normalizing your behavior? Or is everybody just sort of happy to eat all the cake and not watch what you're eating? If to use the Pac Man analogy, are you Pac Man, like hanging out with Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde? Are they bringing you down? Or are you hanging out with, Super Mario and you're actually trying to level up and save Princess Mushroom? That was her name, right? Princess Mushroom?
I have no...
Princess Toadstool. Oh,
dude,
that was
you're beyond me. But that idea of looking around your virtual space, your podcast feed, your Facebook groups, and deciding who are you inspired by, who is keeping you where you are, which isn't a bad thing. We all have friends at different stages and phases, and we have different people in our lives for different reasons. But having something to aspire to, something to push you beyond your comfort zone, I think it really helps me. And I think that having a goal in mind, having something to aspire to, like even Donald Weigel Jr., I'm looking at you, inspiration.
You are. She's actually looking right at me.
Just sort of dead-eyed.
No, but you inspire me all the time. Look, I think we spent years and years kind of dragging each other down.
Yes.
And then you started down this path, and then I came down the path kicking and screaming. But, part of what really helped was you reaching out and, finding these other, Heather from Half Size Me, Gretchen Rubin, Brene Brown, all these people who had new ideas about how to do things. And it really changed my way of thinking and really helped me to, go down the path that I'm on right now rather than staying the way that I was.
Well, and two, it falls into being uncomfortable and pushing past where we know we can get takeout every day. We know we can sit on the couch. And seeing someone else walking to Rite Aid instead of sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
You see someone and you're like, oh, I could do that. That's fine. And we're not talking about mega huge changes, but going back to the inspiration to my left or his right, or no, he's just sitting right there.
I'm just right here.
Donald, and this is actually part of leveling up for me recently. I was thinking just the other day that I wanted to push myself harder in 2019. And I was trying to think of a way that I could, level up my game, because this is my game.
Yes.
Donald, on average, how many floors do you get a day about when you're in the zone?
I do a little over 40 floors every day.
So part of Donald's requirement for taking employment is the number of stairs in the building in which he is working.
Exactly.
He was lamenting. He was like, there's only one staircase and it's exposed to the whole office and this work is going to suck. It wasn't like the actual job he was doing. He was just mad that he couldn't sneak in floors.
The building, like the last job I had, I could actually go to a stairwell where, not very many people went up and down it, and I could just walk up and down and get floors. But not to get off on a whole floors thing, but I have set my minimum goal at 40 floors a day on my Fitbit. And that basically counts the number of times I've walked up one flight of stairs. I try and do that 40 times. But the good news is that there's a, sort of quote unquote convenient men's restroom on the 4th floor of my building. And so I walk up there every day and use that. And because I go to the bathroom like 47 times a day, I'm able to...
Wait, if you get 40 floors, but you go 47 times...
I don't know. I can't do math. We've already established that.
He gets a lot of floors, is the point of the story. Donald asked me how many floors I usually get.
How many floors do you usually get, darling?
I don't know. Leave me alone. Floors have not been my ambition, but realizing, I want to work on my legs, and I want to work on my botemular region. I don't know. My butular region.
Wow, botemular region.
I don't know. I want to work on my legs and my toning, and I was thinking, what extreme measure could I take? And then I thought about Donald Weigel Jr. and I was like, oh, he walks on stairs every day. We have stairs where we live.
I didn't start with a 40 floors a day goal. I started with 10 a day, and then I increased it by like 5 at a time until now I'm at 40. Right. And I actually was recently considering making it higher, but I'm not sure.
So Donald has inspired me, just in this whole leveling up situation, to start for the rest of this month working on getting 10 floors a day.
That sounds great.
It's not. Is it extreme? No.
No.
We have stairs right outside our door. We can use those. So I'm going to start at 10, and then once that feels good, maybe I'll go to 15. Maybe I'll go to 20. Maybe someday I'll be as inspiring as you and get 40 floors in a day.
Someday, maybe.
But it's just about pushing. Like, it doesn't cost me any money. It costs me a little bit of time, but that idea of adding something new to my routine, it's a little scary. But at the same time, it's like, why? What else? I'm just getting older. Why not go up and down some stairs?
Yeah, and I do things like, I park on the top floor of the parking garage at work, and I walk up the stairs at the end of the night, which gets me a few floors and things like that. Just, avoiding the elevator at work as much as possible. And I know I'm kind of digressing, but, I think that
the floor master.
The floor master. Wow.
It just sounds like you're lying on the ground.
It really does. I think that we have a tendency to want to be around people who make us feel good about ourselves. And I think that that's where that whole thing comes from, where if you know you shouldn't be, well, no, I shouldn't say it that way. If you know that you want to be avoiding cake, if you don't want to be indulging in cake, and there's a cake in the office, and you're eating some and you see somebody abstaining, you become that, like, come on, just have a piece. Like, come on.
Darn pushers.
Yeah, the food pushers. And so it's partially about trying to avoid those kinds of people as much as possible and not be one yourself. And
that's the big one.
Try and get inspired to, increase the habits that you really value.
Yeah, and if you're in the workplace and you see someone taking a 10-minute walk at lunchtime, you can say to yourself, it doesn't matter. And we've talked about this before. But what if it did matter? What if just every day you committed to 10 minutes and then the next month you committed to 15 minutes? And we talked about it in our New Year Baby episode about adding a new habit every month, pushing yourself a little bit harder. But what podcasts could you listen to that would inspire a different part of your journey?
I know a good podcast.
They're listening to it now.
Oh, right. They're already listening.
Unless we come out with other episodes, other secret Easter egg episodes
I
or
don't
something.
know. We'll figure it out.
But podcasts, books, people in your church groups at Weight Watchers, find out what they're doing. Find out how they make it work for them, because a lot of times we think something is so far out of our scope or the possibility that we just don't even bother trying. But actually talking to someone, pulling someone aside after a Weight Watcher meeting and go, wow, I know you've already lost 40 pounds. Like, what kind of activity do you get every day? Hey, you work full time and you've got kids. I do too. What do you do to make it work?
Yeah.
Because we want to believe that we're doing our best. We want to believe that we're giving our all. And frankly, we're not. I mean, I know that I'm giving like a good 80%. We've talked about doing B work, being fine. We don't have to be Olympic athletes. We don't have to do triathlons. But if you can look to someone else to see what they're doing and modify it to make it work for your lifestyle, that leveling up, like I'm really excited about pushing myself a little bit harder this year.
Yeah. And, one of the upsides of what you just said, though, is you lost 150 pounds doing B work. So other people can too.
They can. And, we've got people in our accountability group who weigh less than I do, who are more physically active, who run half marathons, people who weigh more than I do who run half marathons.
Yeah.
So it's not about hitting a certain number, but seeing other people do the work, do the hard work, and be motivating and inspiring. I don't want to be the most inspiring person in the room. I don't want to think that I know it all. I know people who think that they know it all.
Yeah, I want to be in Fitbit challenges with people who are going to beat me, like so that I have to try harder to catch up to them.
I want to learn how to better manage my time, my space, my emotions, push myself to do new and exciting things, because that's what this is all about. Like anybody who isn't inspired right now to lose weight, just look to your future self. What do you want for yourself in a year from now? Do you want to be exactly where you are? Or do you want to go, gosh, wow, I went from doing nothing to something. And that is a big difference. Even if for a whole year I just hit 10 floors a day, I can say I hit 10 floors a day, which is something I've never done before. And then next year, maybe I can do a little bit more. It isn't about a finish line. It's just making small changes to improve yourself and to be pushed outside of your comfort zone and to expose yourself to different ideas, different perspectives, and different viewpoints, even if you don't agree with them all. Like, I don't need to run a triathlon right now. That is not in my scope.
Yeah.
But knowing that it only took someone, like I actually got into a discussion with someone, that it took a woman 18 months to train for a triathlon, and that she wasn't in great physical fitness, and that people think that you've got to be in great shape to do something like that. It just takes time and dedication and repeated habits to get you to a certain point.
Yes, that's all.
That's all. No, but okay, so I'll digress. I was listening to Buy the Book, which is another inspiring podcast, and they were talking about a book called Three Choices or something like that, which Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook's sister wrote. And she talked about how walking was not exercise. It created a robust and divided conversation
which
about...
obviously is an out-and-out lie, by the way.
Yeah. But she said that unless you're training for a marathon, it doesn't count. And the idea that something small like walking doesn't count is a limiting thought, and it is a dividing thought. Everything that you do matters. And even if it's just going from 1,000 steps a day to 3,000 steps a day, it matters. Every choice you make to push yourself a little bit harder matters. And being in a position where you're open to new ideas, new perspectives, and new challenges makes us grow as people. I don't want to think that today I know everything I'm going to know for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
and you
for
can't
sure.
teach me any new tricks. Like, I want to know new tricks.
We
Woof.
all want to know
Woof.
new tricks.
Well, and it, too, it's not about comparison being the thief of joy. It's about seeing someone who you can aspire to be more like or to learn from.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about being jealous or must be nicing people, but trying to find people and podcasts, weight loss groups whatever it is for you that inspire you to level up, to move forward.
Bloop, 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 bloop.
Exactly.
So should we move on to...
I think it's time for the product of the week.
Pow!
Pow, everybody. So this week's
Lather up, everybody.
This week's product is something that I use pretty much every day, and it is a waterproof shower Bluetooth speaker. Yeah. Lather. It allows me to listen to inspirational podcasts such as this one while I shower. And it's kind of this, it's almost a life hack. It's this extra kind of, 15 minutes a day that I get where I can listen to these things that I wouldn't ordinarily be able to, because in the shower I can't hear a normal speaker, but this waterproof speaker, and I'll put some links to, I use one brand is VicTsing. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I'll put a link in the show notes to it. It works great. I use it just about every day, and I'm able to then have that extra 15 minutes to be inspired by others while I'm going about my just sort of daily business.
We always talk about sneaking in steps. What about sneaking in sounds?
Exactly.
And if you can do that while you're getting a shower, all the better, because we're all looking for ways to sneak in inspiration in different parts of our life. So I use it too. I finally re-linked the Bluetooth after like 6 months of not being able to figure it out. I pushed myself a little bit harder because I didn't want to hear my own thoughts for 15 minutes. So that is our product of the week.
Pow! Product of the week. And speaking of inspiring things, you can find us on Facebook at We Only Look Thin.
You can find us on Instagram at We Only Look Thin.
You can subscribe to our podcast wherever you found us. iTunes, all the different Android outlets. We're on Stitcher even. And you can also find us on Twitter. I've actually sent out a couple of tweets this week. Yeah, I said I was going to tweet in 2019, and I've sort of kind of done it.
Making it happen. And we have a growing list of people interested in Wolt Place, and we appreciate that. And we are working on building that and putting that together. So
for those who don't know, Wolt Place is our upcoming accountability group. That is a place where you can work on yourself, be the person you are while working on the person you want to be.
Level up. So we'll get more information on that just as soon as we can. Thank you for your patience. We're busy people, and we want to make that a priority this year. So thank you so much for listening.
Yes, thank you very much. And if you have any tips for us or anything, you can email us, weonlylookthin@gmail.com. And if you have all the patterns down and you're heading for the 9th key, and you've got Pac Man fever, just remember that Catherine and I are an inspiration. Bloop, 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 bloop. The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.